What's up, everyone? Matt Gajewski here, back again with the Odd Shopper channel. Today, we're talking some college football ahead of Week 12. It is the Wednesday Maction edition. Before we get started, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you know when this and all other content goes live. If you've done that, thank you. It does help us a ton. And we're also brought to you by Bet365. They have a deal right now where you can bet $5 on any game, whether it's a side or a total. You will get $150 in the form of bonus bets. But better yet, if you head over to Odd Shopper, hover over the Tails Marketplace, you will see a section that says Get Tails for free. Basically, what you're going to do is scroll down. These are all of the ways you can get one free month of Tails. Basically, you'll click Claim Offer from one of these sports books. You'll notice the Bet365 offer is right here. So that means you click this Claim Offer, you get the $150 in bonus bets, and you get one free month of a Tails Marketplace just by following these steps. Could be myself, Ben. There's a ton of content creators in here. So just a no-brainer on top of the money you are getting as part of your bonus bets. You do get that free month, which is an awesome deal, the best one we have ever done. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, please call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. You must be 21 or older to play. All right, it's Maction. It is the second leg of the doubleheader. We are going to the Wednesday night games. As usual, Maction is wild. It is a volatile conference, but there's a lot of ways to exploit this. The first game up on Wednesday is Kent State taking on Miami, Ohio. This is an atrocious game with a 30.5-point spread in favor of Miami of Ohio. The total in the game is 45.5. Kent State is the worst team in the entire country. Some of you may think that is an exaggeration. In power ratings, somehow they're 133. Akron comes in slightly worse. It's a schedule adjustment thing. I think Kent State loses outright to Akron straight up. So it just is what it is. We'll talk about Akron in a little bit. With Kent State, they're on their fourth string quarterback. That's part of the reason why this is a little difficult to parse. They were a little better when they actually had a QB. Now they're on, I believe, a walk-on named Rule Tomlinson. He's averaging 3.1 yards per attempt, a 40% completion percentage, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns, negative rushing yards, playing behind a bottom 10 offensive line in the country. They do have McCray at receiver. He's at least good, but that's not the only thing. Injuries everywhere. One of their tackles is out. They have 3 starters on the back end out. One of their defensive tackles out. Honestly, right now, it's just about if you want to beat Kent State by the spread, it's not hard to do that. It comes down to motivation. What are these teams playing for? Miami, Ohio still has postseason aspirations in this conference. They could win it. And this team is on an absolute tear right now. They have won 4 straight games after they dropped a contest to Toledo. That is their only conference loss right now. Beat Ball State last week by 6. Crushed Central Michigan, who's also on a third-string quarterback. Beat Ohio by 10. And they slaughtered Eastern Michigan. Every single metric points to this team. We currently have, to be honest, we have Kent State showing value, but there's just absolutely no way I bet this. The pace in the game is really bad. It's 81st for Kent State, 128th for Miami, Ohio. I'm definitely not betting an under. Perhaps you could flirt with a Kent State team total under, but it's basically Miami, Ohio or pass. Second game up, we're getting a little more interesting here. We have Akron taking on Northern Illinois. The spread is 15.5 points in most spots. You can find a rogue 15 out there if you're interested in the Husky side of things. Kind of buried the lead with this initially. Akron is also one of the worst teams in the country. The total in this game is 45, so it's a little bit lower. But I think Akron might actually be a team you could buy low on in some instances. As far as injuries go, Akron, Shaman Cooper at linebacker, Damon Davis at safety, Cottrell White at safety. Most of those are depth pieces, but they've been missing. For Northern Illinois, we had a lot of players surprisingly on the injury report last week. Evan Buss at right tackle was listed questionable. He only made it through 6 snaps. Ontario Brown, their stud running back, got hurt immediately in the game. Keyshawn Pipkin at receiver didn't play. Jalen Johnson at receiver didn't play. Jake Applegate at tight end didn't play. And Amarian Knighton at corner missed as well. He's more of a depth piece. So Northern Illinois far from full strength. They did have Ethan Hampton. He's been fine for this team as a game manager. Akron's defense ranks 134th. This is the single worst defense in the entire country, according to efficiency metrics. So while Hampton has sort of game managed his way to wins with 11 turnover-worthy plays, 5 picks, and at least 5 big-time throws, that probably doesn't matter here because even with an injury on this O-line, Northern Illinois is an excellent unit, 38th in pass blocking, 9th in run blocking. On top of Ontario Brown, if he misses this game, it's an ankle injury. They still have Gavin Williams. This is an awesome unit. And this Akron defense is 123rd against the run, 130th in coverage. You can really do whatever you want to them. They've allowed really suspect quarterbacks to have productive games. The worst yards per attempt they've allowed this year is 7.2 yards to CJ Ugbana for Buffalo. Out of their games, only 2 signal callers have been below 8 yards per attempt. That was Cole Snyder of Eastern Michigan, Ugbana of Buffalo. If you look at the yards per carry allowed, it's not much better. This team has been getting absolutely annihilated. So can they keep up with Northern Illinois? I don't think so. Northern Illinois is one of the better defenses in this conference, top 2 unit, 27th overall, balanced everywhere. They're 32nd in run defense, 18th in pass coverage. Akron has a bad offensive line that ranks 128th in pass blocking, 131st in run blocking. Ben Finley has 15 turnover-worthy plays. He's a turnover factory. Their best player is probably at running back, Jordan Simmons, a transfer from Michigan State. But he's playing behind such a bad unit, it doesn't honestly matter here. Halfway debating a Northern Illinois side, it is them or pass. Last game up, we go to Eastern Michigan taking on Ohio. This game has a 10-point spread in most areas. You could actually find a 9.5 if you're interested in Ohio. You can also find a 10.5. It's very, very juice if you're interested in Eastern Michigan. The total in this game comes in at 49.5 points. And right away, we have Eastern Michigan off the bye. Ohio played last week. But we have this as a pretty even game. I think Eastern Michigan has really benefited from a weak level of competition. This team played UMass, then they lost to Washington, is what it is. Beat Jacksonville State by 3. Crushed St. Francis is what it is. Beat Kent State, but allowed 33 points. Got slaughtered by Miami, Ohio. Beat Central Michigan, who's on a third-string quarterback. They only did that by 4 points. Then they lost to Akron and they lost to Toledo. A lot of these games they won too, fluky. Jacksonville State, they win that game by 3 points. Jacksonville State, 6.3 yards per play. Eastern Michigan, 4.9. This team was outgained on a yards per play basis to Kent State. Kent State was at 6.8. Eastern Michigan was at 5.9. This continues across the board. They were outgained yards per play to Akron, so there was nothing fluky in that game. And I don't even think Ohio is that special of a team. In my opinion, they're towards the middle or upper end of this conference. They're better on defense. They're 60th overall there. Their offense has struggled. They can't throw the ball. Parker Navarro is a complete disaster as a passer. He is a very good runner, which is something you can fall back on. But I guess to start with injuries, Eastern Michigan, maybe part of their fall off is injury related because they have a ton of them. 3 starters on the offensive line: Chris Mayo, Blake Bustard, Carson Lee. Only their guards are healthy. 2 receivers: Porter Rooks, the NC State transfer, Zio Griffin. Running back Dante McMillan's only played in 2 games. 3 guys on defense have been missing time. And for Ohio, they're just much healthier. Austin Brawley's been out at safety, but that's not a new thing. Blake Leak at linebacker was limited, but I mean, this team played Kent State last week, so it's very, very difficult to decipher whether this was injury-related or just playing an incompetent opponent, and I tend to think it was more playing an incompetent opponent. So they're healthier, Ohio that is. The Eastern Michigan defense is 83rd. They are 12th against the run, which is nice. That's how you want to play Ohio, but they are 131st in coverage, so maybe even Parker Navarro gets there. Eastern Michigan's offense, I think, is a complete disaster. I am no Cole Snyder fan, never have been, probably never will be. He's running really hot on turnovers, 11 turnover-worthy plays to 3 interceptions, doesn't run as well as a guy like Navarro. The offensive line here, I think, is a little worse. They're 82nd in pass blocking, 83rd in run blocking. Mentioned all of the injuries they have, so they have the potential to be even worse here. I'm also interested in an Ohio side. They are the team in this matchup that I would like to back over Eastern Michigan, who's disappointed a lot this year. That'll do it for us with the 3 MACtion games. We'll be back tomorrow for the single game, and then I believe it's a 4-pack on Friday and then a full slate Saturday. Leave a comment below if you have one. Reach out to me on Twitter. My DMs are open, @Matt_Gajewski. Otherwise, we'll be back talking more football tomorrow. Until then, good luck.